I wanted to show you what we will be doing next time. And if you come, and I would encourage you to come, because we could really do very good way of exploring this profound knowledge. It is not only that I address it as it is in integral yoga, I will be addressing it as it is in Upanishads and the Veda. I will bring the aspects of it into the framework of integral yoga. Because integral yoga uses all this knowledge. Even Buddhistic knowledge will be used, or Advaitic knowledge will be used by integral yoga in a place where it belongs, as I believe. Yeah. But you may think differently. Yeah? But that is okay. It's a device for us to get a presence, an experience. So
integral yoga is it's a practical application of how we can realize the teaching.
right.
Not intellectual.
It's not intellectual, and still it is intellectual. What is interesting, it is also using intellect, mind. When people say this is not it because it is the mind, I think, by what they decide this? And who is talking? The mind is talking, of course. And the mind is deciding. But the mind is also part of the experience. Everything is a part of the experience. Body, vital, mind, supermind, transcendental is a one spirit. That's what we want to understand. That this body is not a mistake or some kind of trap for the spirit to get out and to be free forever. It is the enterprise of the spirit. It is something which spirit manifests here, manifests itself through the body here, and wants to be, making jokes about me. But is it not so? Otherwise, why we are here talking about it? So if you look a little further, I will be speaking about consciousness, how it operates on every level. And this is a profound knowledge which is given by Sri Aurobindo, especially on a dhyatmic level. Because on a level of the unborn self, on the supramental level, consciousness operates differently, which we have no idea yet about. But if we learn about it, we will see how it is pervading the whole up to the physical, and how it is present even at the physical level. So we will speak also about how faculties are presented in different epistemological frameworks or structures of consciousness. How it was in the Veda, how it was in Vedanta, and how it became in Sankhya and Yoga later. We are thinking in a different way today, and we can compare how they were thinking in the Vedantic time, in the Upanishadic times, and how different it was from the Vedic way of thinking. And once you have the whole line and you see how things changed within yourself, we can trace back. We can shift between different languages and understand different ways of approaching these subjects. It's also very important to see the evolution of structures of consciousness, from magic to mythical, from mythical to mental. We are now in the mental structure. We are fighting by the mind with the mind. We want to get out from the trap of the mind. And it's very legitimate. We will see why it is so also. So, enter the Buddha, our senses, indriyas. If you look at this scheme, you can see that operations, as Sri Aurobindo calls them, secret operations of consciousness at the highest level, and then faculties of consciousness, or what we call indriyas, and senses, basically. Yeah? So the faculties of consciousness in Sankhya, this is what we will be dealing with next time. It's a very important vision. It is everywhere, in Tantra, Yoga, in every darshana, you would have to learn about this system. We will look into it deeper, how consciousness pervades and presents itself in the physical world. We have 5 elements, Pancha Mahabhutani. You see, ether, air, vayu, fire, water and earth. And we have karmendriyas and jnanendriyas. Jnanendriyas are the senses of knowledge, and on each of these levels there will be one sense of consciousness present. Hearing, touch, sight, taste and smell. 5 indriyas, as it were. Each corresponds with a particular level of in the physical body, in our physicality. But the most important is the top, Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha is, according to Sankhya, is our soul, and Prakriti is our nature. Prakriti is one, and Purushas are many, according to Sankhya. There is also Sankhya of the Gita, where there is also universal Purusha, and there are many Purushas, and there is the Prakriti, nature. Nature, when it is not attended by Purusha, is falling into equilibrium. It does not manifest anything. As Mother would say about herself, without him I exist not. But without me, he is unmanifest. This is a relation of Purusha, the spirit or the soul, and Prakriti, the nature. Whenever the soul attends to Prakriti, I'm speaking now philosophy to you, philosophical vision of Sankhya, then Prakriti immediately mixes up Rajas, Tamas and Sattva. These 3 major gunas. Tamas is darkness, inertia, Rajas is energy, fire, and Sattva is equilibrium. So these 3 states are immediately mixed up, building up first Buddhi, the higher mind, the pure reason, as we call it in Western philosophy, Ahankara, the ego sense, Manas, the sense mind. And Manas, the sense mind, connects to all the indriyas, hearing, touch, sight, taste and smell. It is by Manas that they are being operated. I will talk more about this, and we will look into it deeply because it's important to see, because you can see that these indriyas are nothing but the faculties of Purusha when he attends to Prakriti. When he attends to Prakriti, there will be consciousness pervading her and manifested in these 5 indriyas. In seeing, hearing, speaking, thinking, all these faculties will be manifested. Because the Purusha, the consciousness, attends to her. So, this vision of Purusha and Prakriti is very prominent in India. I think every Indian knows about it. Everybody speaks about Purusha and Prakriti. Even husband and wife are viewed as Purusha and Prakriti. She is more manifesting, she is the executrix, she is the power which executes all the vision of Purusha. And Purusha is that, silence or consciousness or presence which is being formulated by Prakriti. This is what we will be looking into, and how Manas is operating through these 5. And I will make a distinction between karmendriyas and jnanendriyas, the senses of action and senses of knowledge. It's also a very important piece of Indian philosophy, which explains something very profound. I will not go into it now, but just to tell you that our karmendriyas are blocking away our perception of the inner self. Our activities within the body, so to say, are built up from the inconscient. They grew up from the inconscient, and our activities by hands, legs, speech, procreatory organs and excretory organs, they are all connecting us to the outer world. These are the connections through the action to the outer world. And once they are activated, they're kind of blocking away the inner perception. That's why the methods of yoga were developed where you become totally still. You stop thinking, you stop even breathing. Why? Because you want to reach deeper. And the moment you become active, you move your hands, you start moving around, that connection, that perception disappears. It's very psychological. You will observe that it makes sense. So how to be perceptive and active at the same time? This is the biggest question. Because we are losing our inner perception when we are active. The moment we become active in the body, we run or we think intensely about something, how to solve the problem, we forget about the spirit. We can't connect. So to connect, we have to still everything, to calm down, to relax everything, to relax jaws, to relax neck, to relax everything. And then slowly we can dive deeper to some inner light. This is the mental structure of consciousness where mind is leading all the senses. But there was before another structure, Upanishadic, and I want to speak about it, about pre-Sankhyaik paradigm, where these faculties were seen as the major ones. Here they are: hearing, seeing, speaking, thinking, breathing in and breathing out. This is pre-Sankhyaik paradigm. And why it is interesting, it is because in this paradigm the mind was not dominating the senses. It was one of the senses. So the seeing was independent from the mind. Hearing was independent faculty from the mind. The word was independent. For us it is so difficult now to imagine. We are so mental already. We think everything is done by the mind. But it wasn't so earlier. In the earlier structure of consciousness, the mind was one of the faculties and was mentioned in the pair with speech, manas and vak. They were constant dvandva. And chakshuk and shrotram, seeing and hearing, another constant dvandva. And prana and apana, another constant dvandva. Breathing in and breathing out. We will talk about them, why they are important. You can see that they are kind of thought, and if I take word and hearing, hearing is perceptive and word is active. Is it not so? The word is vibration, expression of some hearing which is more perceptive. They are in the pair on the one side, on the right side. On the left side you see seeing as a perceptive faculty. When you are seeing, you are not active. But when you actively see, then you think. Active seeing is imagination. You are moving seeing into activity. And you can see active perceptive on both sides. One is dedicated to nama, the name. Other is to rupa, the form. We see the form and we understand the meaning of the form by the name, by the hearing. Seeing and hearing, two fundamental faculties of consciousness. If I show you this thing and ask you, what do you see? What would you say? I was already playing this trick with you. A mug. How do you know that it is a mug? It's the name. The name. Right. No, you're speaking about the word. But I'm speaking about how do you know that this is a mug? You see something, yeah, you have some knowledge, you have something which is not what you see. You see something. You see something which is like round, like, like cylinder-like, that has insides. There must be something inside, you already know. How do you know that something inside, that I can use it? You don't see it me using. You remember it now, but knowing about this belongs to the domain of the word. Does not belong to the domain of seeing. Seeing sees the form. Even the form is the word. When you see it, you already see something. Black. Black is the word. Everything is the word. All your understanding about this belongs to the word and not to the sight. Sight is fixing this image of things with your consciousness, and the word relates this thing with all possible activities. You can put water in, tea, you can drink, you can hold, you can put, it has flat. You have all the relations through the word. You know how to use this object or something, what you see, through the word, not through the seeing. Impressive. They speak about Nama and Drupa as two fundamental faculties by which the Brahman came into this existence. Through seeing and hearing he came. And the active counterpart of seeing and hearing is the word and the thought. And here you have it. Okay? Absolutely, because we are in the mental structure. Thought is dominating everything, leading everything. You think and you have it. But there was another structure before, where thought was not the leader of everything. There could be another way, seeing and understanding. Word was more prominent than the thought. Word was creator of the thought. Word was generator of the idea. We don't remember the structure, but it was there. Yeah? At the beginning was the word. This understanding is in all these ancient traditions, in Tantra, especially Shaivism, Kashmirian Shaivism. Yeah. So there was pre-Sankhyaik, pre-mental structure, which looked at the world quite different. We have to look into it to see how they saw. And then we will have a much wider scope for our possibilities. And then, of course, Annam is the embodiment of the spirit. And these four, Manas, Vak, Chakshuk and Shrotram, are called in the Upanishads Brahma Chatushpat, Brahma on four legs. It is by these four that he could enter into manifestation and be embodied in this very body. And then, what we will do next, we will look into Adhyatmic epistemology. And I will go with you into the secret operations. We must do this exercise once. You will be delighted to see. This is a profound knowledge of Sri Aurobindo, of essential sense, of comprehensive and apprehensive cognition. We will have to look into it because it widens the scope of our perception. And then, at the end of this, we will come to what we call the verities, or the life principles of the psychic being. And here we have to look into these eternal dharmas. What are these? What is sincerity? What is humility? These are not faculties of consciousness. What are they? Where are they coming from? Gratitude, aspiration, courage. What is courage? What is goodness, generosity, equality, peace? Where are these coming from? We will have to look into this another dimension of our consciousness, which we are never thinking about as separate from faculties. Faculties are one part of our being, the technology of consciousness. And these are something else. They are manifested through our inborn self, psychic being, the soul within us, vibrates and emanates these qualities of the being, these delights, eternal dharmas, as Sri Aurobindo calls it, eternal dharmas, constantly emanating and sustaining the universe.
Mother has said this, these are the basis of our whole creation. This is what we teach in our university.
All right, that was it for today. I don't want to overload you more, but you know what is waiting for us in the future. In the next presentation, we will look into the secret operations and especially the eternal dharmas, or the verities, or the psychic qualities, the qualities of our antaryamin, inborn self, Chaitya Purusha, Angushtamatra Purusha. These are all the names of the inborn soul within us. It is that lover, that is him who loves the divine, who is seeking for the divine with love. There is no love without this being in us. That is the spark of the divine. To your question on singularity and the individualization we were discussing with Radha, that spark of the divine becomes the individual divine, which is everything at the same time, and has its own focal, unique, individual point of view at the same time. It's difficult to reconcile because mind cannot handle it. Mind can say either everything is one, or how can be many there? Yeah? So, but it can be. The singularity doesn't mean that it's only one. There is a diversity in oneness, and oneness in diversity. Both ways. And that is singularity.
The best part about this thing is that all of us unconsciously uses this quality in our practical field. We are not conscious. And each organization uses this with different titles and management terminology. Each organization, whether it's at individual level, society level, or company level, or a nation level.
HP, can you take it, please, just for our sake?
So, this is very important qualities that each human being uses without being aware of it. If you observe yourself from today, you will see that in varying degrees, we are using it. In many varying degrees. Some more prominent, some maybe not, some different times. So this is why Mother has said these are bases of creation. The whole universe is based on this. These are tools that we as a human being uses to propel our life journey on even material level. And I'm talking about any professions you take. As a businessman, as a student of even learning here, we need receptivity. We need aspiration. Are we sincere to learn? I mean, you can use everything. Are we afraid, therefore we need courage? You cannot make decision in life without courage. You cannot progress unless you are also ready for perseverance, because roadblocks will come. So that's why these are 12 qualities we teach as qualities of a leader. First we are leading our life, and then rest of the world, family, organization, the departments. So this is why this is frankly most fundamental. And these are the qualities that invokes 4 Mahashaktis. It prepares us to have the connection with Mahashakti that operates in this universe. Mahasaraswati, Mahalakshmi, Maheshwari and Mahakali. And each is having the prominent faculty, representation of Shaktis. So that's why this is very, very important. Now you can see this.
And they have colors, notice. You will be surprised that sincerity is this sky blue color. Sincerity and sky blue. Just sense it. You would feel that we know somehow, we know that it is so. I do not know how we know it. Through what means we can really understand that. And courage is red. Huh? How do we know the blood is red,
This is the symbol of mother.
This is symbol of
very center, that center circle is the mother.
Adi Shakti we call it.
Uh-huh.
Vishwari is Vishwari.
Yeah, she represents wisdom, compassion, wisdom.
Motherly love.
There is a book called The Mother, in which Sri Aurobindo explains in very detail what is this four Shaktis represents, how you connect with it, how you develop yourself to connect with it. Very profound, very, very powerful.
Yeah, you have to see that book, The Mother. It's incredible. Everything
Even,
is
let's
there.
say we all are looking at, let's say, money. So Mahalakshmi represents that. So it explains what is the quality of Lakshmi and how you can use it to help yourself create the economic wealth. Amazing, isn't it? This spiritual science. People say there's two silos, material life and spiritual life. But actually, we can use spiritual learning into material, and it will be a sense of adventure, satisfying, and there are solutions in it. We have solutions if we know how to use it.
Yes. Thank you for this. This is an important piece which we will dedicate some time to, and we will look deeper in what Sri Aurobindo and the mothers speak about it and why it is so important for us. And as HP was mentioning, we try to teach this in the course in SOL, Science of Living, in our university in Surat. We have Science of Living 1 and 2, where the first part was dedicated to our faculties of consciousness, how we see, speak, just train ourselves, technologies of consciousness. But the second half, second year, was dedicated to these verities, to the eternal dharmas, how to manifest them. And if you look at them more precisely, as Mother says, the first 8, from sincerity to courage, from blue to red, all the colors, you see, from blue to red. And then there is from red to blue back, is Mahasaraswati already. So 4 qualities. So these first 8 are towards oneself, towards the divine. You cannot be sincere to others. You can be only sincere to yourself, what you do. These are internalized qualities. Because if you start playing sincerity with others, it's just, pretending to be sincere, which is not true. You have to be sincere to yourself, then you are sincere to others. That's the only way. And these last 4 qualities, goodness, generosity, equality, and peace, are towards humanity, she says. So towards humanity you have to manifest goodness, generosity, equality. You have to look at everybody with equality and peace. The rest are towards your inner being. And that makes totally sense. You cannot be courageous towards somebody else. You can be courageous only within yourself to do something. Yes? Makes sense, no? And humility, how can you be humble towards others? You can be humble only towards the divine. You feel the divine presence in you, become humble. You know that it is not your world. It is His. That's why you feel humility, because you feel the presence of the divine. You can't claim everything, all responsibilities by yourself. And gratitude comes from here. You're grateful for this manifestation, for this beautiful world, for the divine being present in it. You are grateful. Not because somebody did good for you. Then you are grateful to him, because you must. Otherwise, he will misunderstand you. That's the play of the gratefulness, gratitude.
All this is so wide that you can, all the management terminology you can put in one of these terms. So when he's talking about humility, it is not about being humble only, but to recognize one's limitations. Then you will do something about it. So humility means recognizing one's own limitations. Isn't that we require in anything? Why we are here? Because we don't know therefore we are here. That means you accepted that you don't know, therefore you want to know. So each word, each these qualities, we call it living principles.
It's the whole philosophy, vision behind. If you just go deeper, meditate upon them, you will see that it unfolds an amazing vision. And you want to have these qualities. Sri Aurobindo says, once you experience true quality, like courage or sincerity, once, if you truly experience it, you will never forget. You will always want to come back to it. Because that...
It's like talking about generosity. Generosity is not writing a check. Generosity in our thinking, in our attitude, in our feelings, in our wideness of broadening our own horizon of thinking. That's generosity. And that we require an organization. You will not grow unless you are generous about your thinking, whether it's product development, service development. So you see how this all thing connects to your material life. I'm just bringing different dimension to what he's explaining.
Absolutely.
He's talking about spiritual and psychic use of these tools. I'm talking about how this could be used in material life. Each one. Equality means, how do I make decisions when I'm disturbed? I need to be step back and see the world and make a right decision. So equality is, of course, spiritually it's called state of Brahma, and you are not disturbed, but at the same time, how I can use the equality to my daily life. And by the way, it's not easy. Each quality is important, but we may not be able to execute all of them in the right sense. But at the end of the day, we have to come back to it.
This is where the two triangles come together.
These are, I call, tools, even for spiritual focus. Look at everything that we do on spiritual focus. We are receptive to learn something that we don't know. If you are not receptive, you will not improve yourself in knowledge, or skill set, or anything. If you are not sincere, you will not be here today. Because you were sincere on Sunday afternoon, you are here. The others who are not here, this is not their priority. Very simple, not rocket science.
Yeah. And look, if you look at sincerity, it is the major quality from which everything starts. And Mother says, nothing is possible without sincerity. If you're not sincere with what you do, perceive, want, how can you really at all proceed or do anything? So
the way I see sincerity is that it leads to perfection. And perfection leads to excellence. Very simple. Anything we do, if we do sincerely, it will be perfect.
The more sincere we are, the more perfect it will become.
And that's what we do in the corporate too. With the iPhone, every time they come up with new models, they're perfecting it.
Mm.
They're perfect.
All right, 5 o'clock. It's a beautiful time. So shall we have a minute of silence? Just small.